Once you get your real estate license, so many new opportunities open up and you have options to pick what path you want to go down. For example, you could become a commercial real estate agent. You could stay in residential, or you can become a property manager and eventually open up your own property management company. Over the past 10 years, I've gone down each element of each one of these paths. I've tried multiple different things, and I'm going to share with you the pros and cons of each one so you can decide which one is best for you. So let's dive right into it. Before we get started, I do want to tell you about two things. Down below in the description, you're going to find our real estate career guide, so make sure to grab your copy of that. It's packed with a lot of useful information you can use to jumpstart your real estate career. Plus, make sure to check out our Unplugged agent community. Inside, you're going to find a bunch of different tools, resources, trainings, and a place to go ask questions. I jump into that group on a regular basis and answer agents' questions and help them out. So make sure to join that group. There's a lot of resources you can tap into and you'll really enjoy it. First, let's talk about residential real estate. This is the most common road that agents go down, and for good reason. Many residential real estate agents make a lot of money. And when I first started out, I rejected this path so hard. I didn't want to do residential real estate. I wanted to do commercial real estate. And the reason is I thought it was much cooler. I'm much more of a numbers person. And I figured I could build a much larger, more lucrative business on the commercial side. But after talking to quite a few mentors, they told me that the competition in commercial is much different than the competition in residential. And if you crack the code to residential, you can get to a six-figure income much quicker. And that's why I chose this route. Now, I have dabbled in commercial and I have also done some different property management tasks in the past, such as leasing units and doing rentals. So I have done each one of these and I want to dive into the pros and cons of each. So first things first, what is residential real estate? Essentially, you're helping buyers and sellers get into their residential properties, mostly single families. Sometimes you're going to deal with small multifamilies, but in general, you're dealing with more comps, which are basically they find the property's value based on other properties in the neighborhood. You're not using things like cap rate, or you're not really diving too much into cash flow or cash on cash return. You're not getting into any of that heavy math. You're more or less helping buyers and sellers, which makes this a much more beginner-friendly road to go down. So I want to tell you about some of the main responsibilities if you decide to take this path. First things first is showing homes. Obviously, you probably already knew that if you're watching this video. Real estate agents typically show homes, but that's the most simple part of the job. You'll also have other tasks, such as negotiating home inspections, helping your clients find contractors, helping them with the scope of repairs on things. If you have a listing and your seller needs help getting quotes from other contractors, you're basically the middleman trying to put all the pieces together and make a deal happen. And there's a lot of moving pieces and a lot of different people you have to deal with, such as lenders, title attorneys, insurance agents. There's a lot of moving pieces. So your job is to basically get into a deal and make it happen. Now let's go into some of the skills that you need. First things first is you need excellent communication skills. When you're in the middle of all these different people, when you have a mix of different professionals such as lawyers, sometimes accountants, people that do insurance, mortgage lenders, you have to be very good at communication and you have to keep everything on track and make sure that everybody's on the same page. The better your communication skills, the easier your job's going to be as a residential agent. The next big skill is sales skills. Now, sales skills are super important because if you don't know how to sell, you're not going to be able to sell your value proposition and you're never going to get hired. And if you don't get hired, you're going to be a broke agent that ends back at a 9-to-5 job like the majority of new agents that just get started in this career. So you want to avoid that at all costs, and you want to make sure you actually learn how to sell and you actually learn how to build a good value proposition so you can get hired and scale to that six-figure income as quick as possible. The next top skill is negotiation skills. You're going to be in the middle of negotiations and you're going to be trying to save your clients money. And on top of that, you're going to be going back and forth trying to bring all parties together. And to do that, you have to be very good at negotiating on behalf of your client. And last but not least, you need to know the market. That's very easy to learn. You can do that straight through your MLS in most cases. Just study the market, become really knowledgeable in your specific area. Again, this isn't super hard to learn. I think the biggest challenge that agents have is the communication skills and the sales skills. Now, I want to tell you why this could be a great opportunity. Well, in residential real estate, the competition is there. In all honesty, there's a lot of real estate agents all going for the same business. The good news is most of them are asleep at the wheel. They don't have the proper training, they don't have the proper support. And if you come in and you really dedicate yourself to this and become good at it, it's very easy to win. That's the best part. I've had agents come on my team and just skyrocket their business. Even me personally, I've been out of production managing my team for a year. I decided to flip the switch and get back into production. I already have 5 clients in 1 month. Okay. So it's not hard to scale because the competition isn't that good, but there's a lot of competition. So you have to stand out and really shine and make yourself a true professional. And that's what Unplugged Agent is all about. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, make sure to join that community and get involved, because my goal is to help as many agents as possible that want to get to that next level do so. So make sure to join that community, jump in there, and let's connect. Now let's talk about commercial property. Now commercial agents get into different types of property. They're basically dealing with commercial structures. This could be large multifamily properties. This could be office space. This could be small businesses. Some commercial agents dabble in that, but essentially they're dealing more with business type properties, retail, large multifamily. And this can be a really good thing, especially if you're good with numbers, you love math, and you really love the business side of real estate. Now, your key responsibilities as a commercial agent is going to be to identify potential investment opportunities, bring investors together, and get them into assets that they want to be in and negotiate those deals. So your job is going to be to review the math with them, go through the cap rates, go through the cash on cash return, and help that investor put together a good solid deal that's good for them and their portfolio. In some cases, you might be dealing with multiple investors, you might be dealing with syndications, but you're looking to basically help investors get into properties, or small business owners that might be looking to get into a space for their business. The skills you're going to need to succeed in this are going to be all the skills as a residential agent plus more. You're going to need to know finance, investments, financial lingo, and how to break down investments in spreadsheets and different mathematical formulas to be able to present these the correct way and answer any questions. Now, don't get this confused with being a financial advisor, because you're not. You're not here to give financial advice, but you are here to give good, sound commercial real estate advice. And a lot of this comes down to cap rates and different math equations that help investors decide if this is going to be a good property for them or not. Now let's talk about why this can be great. This can be a great option for you because if you're more business savvy, it can be a good way to scale. You will probably enjoy it more in most cases, and you have much higher earning potential. Let's face it, in most cases, commercial properties typically sell for a lot more. If you have a 120 unit apartment complex, it's probably going to sell for more money than a single family house in most cases, unless you're selling a mansion or something super high-end luxury. So you can make a really good commission on the average sale. And that's why it's such a lucrative, attractive career once you get it built and once you get going. However, the downside is it can take a lot to get going and the competition is fierce. So some commercial agents don't make commission checks for years. So I want you to be prepared for that ahead of time. And if you feel like you want more steady commissions and you want something a little bit more stable, especially when you first start, you might want to start in a different path, such as residential or even property management. Now let's talk about property management. When I first got started, this is the path that I went down. I started working with landlords and helping them get their properties leased, because I realized that if I get a rental and I get that done, I could potentially make a commission check in 1 or 2 weeks. And I thought that was the greatest thing. And I spent the majority of my first year in real estate just working with landlords, trying to find them renters to lease their property. And then I had a mentor come to me and say, hey, you're doing a lot of work and not making a lot of money. You should maybe consider selling properties as well as doing this. And then once I started making my first sales, I realized that the amount of work that you put into a sale is about the same amount of work as you put into a rental, and you make 5 or 10 times more money. So I always gravitated to the sales after that, but this was an excellent way to get my foot in the door and start my real estate career. So what is it? Basically, you're managing properties on the behalf of other owners. So if somebody you know owns an apartment complex, or a client you get owns an apartment complex and they have 5 units, they might hire you to manage those units. You get a percentage of the month's rent, and you might even get the opportunity to fill those units with new tenants and make a commission when that happens. property management can be a great thing. It is very labor intensive, but it can be a great opportunity to build a steady, predictable stream of income. Now, what are your key responsibilities? As a property manager, you're going to be managing the property. So you're coordinating repairs. Anytime something breaks in the property, you're going to be talking to handymen or contractors and getting that property fixed, communicating with the landlord, and taking care of the whole situation so that they're hands off and you're dealing with the day-to-day management of that particular investment property. On top of that, you're also going to coordinate and help that owner fill that property when the new lease comes due and you have to find a new tenant. In most cases, unless they want to do that themselves, but in most cases, they will hire the property manager or a real estate agent to do that, and they'll pay the agent a commission to fill that property. The skills you're going to need are kind of the opposite of the skills you would need as a real estate agent or commercial agent. It's less sales based. Of course, you're going to need sales to get your initial clients, but you're going to be more in the role of a manager. You're going to need to be a little bit more analytical. You're going to need to be very organized, detail oriented, and a problem solver. You're going to have to be quick on your feet. Things are going to happen day to day, and you're going to have to be constantly putting out fires and solving problems for your client. If that's something that you think is enjoyable, then this could be a great option for you. Now, why is it actually great? Well, being a property manager is great because it gives you the opportunity to build a stable business. I have a friend of mine that has a property management company, and he has built that from the ground up, and he has over 500 clients right now that pay him on a monthly basis. And the best part about this business is it's reoccurring income. So every month that he keeps his clients on, he continues to get paid. And that's one of the coolest things about this business, and that's why I really think it's a great opportunity. Beyond that, if you just want to get into this at a light capacity, you could start off doing rentals for landlords, and that's how I started. And you can make much quicker commission checks than if you were to go out and try to find a listing. And this is a big opportunity if you're just getting started, if you're trying to bootstrap your career and get off the ground. And that's how I use this portion of the business. But this is something you should definitely look into if you have any interest in being a property manager. Now, the cons of this business is it can be a little bit more difficult to scale. You're going to make less money per transaction than if you were in residential or commercial sales. And it takes a lot longer to build and get to a substantial income. That's the downside to it. You're going to have to really put in a lot of work to get it to the point where it's a large income, but it does give you an opportunity to get in the door and start making money much quicker. So let me know which opportunity stands out to you the most and which one do you like the best? Drop it in the comment section below. And if you like this video, make sure to check this video out here. I think you'll like it a lot. Thanks again for tuning in.